Welcome, everybody, to the seasonal diet, eating what our ancestors ate when they ate it, like we were evolved to do. So we're going over shellfish this week. Right now is top lobster season in many places in the world. In the winter and spring, there was not much food growing around for our ancestors, who lived in a cold place at least, and it was not common to eat the livestock meat either at this time of year after you had just taken care of your animals all winter and now turned them out to graze. So our ancestors had to get creative in the food scarce months until the summertime. One very good way they got their protein was lobster. These crustaceans have been on quite a journey from prehistoric times into the posh restaurants of today. So let's start going. The oldest evidence we have, the earliest evidence of humans fishing for lobster, dates back to the Native Americans, we think, where we find most of the archaeological evidence for lobster hunting. They caught lobsters by hand during low tide, and we even have some traps that they used all along the rocky Atlantic coastlines. Although lobster definitely could have been eaten on the coastlines of Eurasia as well for tens of thousands of years, we don't find clear evidence of any lobster in the diets until ancient Egypt and ancient Rome a few thousand years ago. Lobsters pop up in several ancient mythologies, not a whole lot that have to do with culinary. It's only vague mentions in Greek and Roman and even Norse mythology, where of course they would be more prevalent due to the colder waters up north. So at least it shows awareness of lobster in these places, but not widespread culinary use. It wasn't until the Middle Ages that we start to see lobsters in cookbooks pretty commonly, especially recipes for the upper class at that time. However, after the Middle Ages, leading up to the Renaissance era, industrial area, lobster changes and it was seen as a peasant's food actually. Even after the Europeans that settled the Americas, they saw the natives enjoying these in abundant amount. The Europeans often used them as garden fertilizer or just fish bait. In fact, there were even laws in some colonies that prevented servants from being fed lobster more than twice a week by their lords and ladies because they thought it was cruel and unusual punishment to eat lobster too much. But in the 19th century, things began to change as transportation improved and their common perception of lobsters changed. Live lobsters could be shipped to urban areas far from their natural habitat. Around the same time, chefs in Boston and New York especially started featuring lobsters in their recipes, transforming their image from a poor man's cuisine to a gourmet delicacy. And this has lasted until today. This culinary revolution was supported by the growing middle class, who embraced dining out as part of their lifestyle and further cementing lobster's high status all the way up until today. And it has been some of the most expensive things on every menu in every restaurant you will go to today. And we know that it's great because it's super healthy now, lots of protein and minerals, and it's a rare treat for most of us. Just know that although we might not have extensive evidence of its culinary use going that far back in history for our ancestors, definitely, if our ancestors lived by the sea, they would have had this in their diet in a decent amount, especially at this time of year. Probably very plentiful if they lived in the right place and, the tides changed often or traps were constructed, or if not, maybe you just had some ancestors that were good at holding their breath and liked to swim for them. I, for one, love lobster, but I, like most of you, I'm too broke to buy it. But anytime I'm back in Norway, I have family that fishes or dives for them, and we can get it totally free and wild. It just has to be the right time of the year because there's laws around that stuff as well. But like I said, it's usually best and most abundant in the winter and the spring. But that's all for me. Let me know, do you guys fish for it yourself? Do you go out to restaurants? Do you have a little extra income to spend? How often do you eat it? Let us all know down below.